Welcome back to the Post TV Season 4 finale. I'm Meg McCleary.
And I'm Abby Hyde. We've had a busy few weeks in Athens, so stay tuned to hear about all the latest events.
Rural Action, a nonprofit organization, put together Ohio's first ever Soil Health Week. They rallied outside the courthouse to call for better soil health.
This week is Ohio's first ever Soil Health Week. In honor of that, a nonprofit group, Rural Action, who aims to help Southeast Ohio's environment, organized a rally about soil health.
It's a rainy, cold day, honestly, so I am shocked by the number of people who came out. I think I counted like around 60 people that were here listening to our amazing lineup of speakers, in addition to just how many cars I've been driving by and seeing what we're messaging about. So it's a relief being the event coordinator and seeing like a lot of enthusiasm out here today.
Ohio State Representative of District 22, Juanita O'Brent, spoke at the rally today to educate people and lead a call to action.
We're here because it's Soil Health Week, and we're so excited that we're trying to get this legislation passed because everyone eats, and so the only way to be concerned about what we're eating is to first start off with the ground, and that's soil.
A member of Rural Action's team says soil health means knowing what is actually in the soil.
Soil is the start, it's the basis, and it's where we get everything else from, and you cannot live without it.
Sustainable Agriculture Director Molly Sowash says soil health is very important to her as a consumer of food because healthy soil means healthy food. She also says it helps her business as a farmer to be more resilient and profitable.
Something to think about is like every time we take food out of the soil, we harvest a carrot, we butcher the cattle that's been eating it. It's taking the nutrients that it absorbed from the soil off of the farm instead of going back in. And so it's slowly depleting it. So how we do it is we put nutrients back into the soil. In a home garden, that's compost. It's manure. That's our most powerful fertilizer on our farm with livestock.
She says her farm and others also practice managed grazing, which is rotating the cattle so they're constantly eating in a fresh pasture. And this gives the grass time to rest and grow deeper, healthier roots.
Education is key to all of this. We don't talk about enough about soil health because people only associate it with quote-unquote farmers. But if we do not have good soil health, the things you get at the grocery store, the things that you are putting on your body will be affected by that.
Sowash says Rural Action starts educating people as young as second grade by teaching them what goes into healthy foods.
We have a lot of workshops too that are open to the community. We go out on farms that are really doing great work, and we have them be the educator and the teacher to talk about, how are they improving their soil through the way they raise their food.
Representative Brent tells me she has been traveling all around the nation to raise awareness about the importance of soil health.
People don't know, and so many of us are going to a place where our economy is pushing us into having to grow our own produce at home. So if you are growing something at home, you want to have access to more soil testing that the state should be providing. You also want to make sure that you have the correct minerals you can have to make sure you can grow things properly.
O'Leary says the biggest problem with our soil is it does not have enough nutrients in it. She says fixing that and getting more people to care about soil health is the goal.
It's the most important thing. I mean, there's nothing if it isn't.
They say no soil equals an unhealthy life, since soil health affects our food. They were very happy with the turnout and enthusiasm, successfully being able to educate many on how to put nutrients back in the soil.
Ohio University is going green. If you've noticed plants growing in the dining halls, Student Senate's Environmental Affairs Vice Commissioner started an initiative to grow fresh produce to give back to the food pantries in Athens, such as Cat's Cupboard. Ohio University received a grant for culinary services and Student Senate to collaborate on growing healthy greens for the Ohio University Food Pantry. The initiative is called Going Green, that promotes visibility to sustainability. Students are able to help with this project and earn money toward their tuition. The initiative requires all hands on deck from the Student Senate, culinary services, and work-study students to keep these plants healthy and distribute them to the Cat's Cupboard.
I think it's very hard to notice sustainability or appreciate it when it's not directly a part of your life. And so this is just a great way to allow students to be more conscious of sustainability.
The Student Alumni Board's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion team hosted their second annual Cultural Diversity Fashion Show. It was a showcase of how they dream the workforce will look one day with intercultural professionalism. They hope for one that is diverse in gender and culture and all around inclusive. The fashion show is putting their board's mission into something tangible. They say the show will represent what DEI is all about, and they hope it will become a tradition. They redefined professionalism, removing the limits it puts on fashion in the workplace.
November is Native American Heritage Month, which honors and celebrates all the Indigenous people and their contributions to the community.
In the Athens region and the state of Ohio, there's so much Native and Indigenous symbolism surrounded by us. Here in this region, we also have things like the earth mounds that were left over by some of the tribes that happen to be in the vicinity. Because of the Indian Removal Act in the 1830s, very little trace of the people are even here in the region. But as a state, there's so much symbolism that we see all around us.
Ohio was home to many indigenous communities, including the Kickapoo, Erie, Shawnee, and Ohio Valley tribes. However, because of the Indian Removal Act of 1830, Native Americans only make up 1% of all Ohioans now. Their legacy, however, still lives on.
It's hard to exclude their narrative when so much evidence of them is all around us. Their contributions to this region, to the land that we call home and we walk on every day, is still felt, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not. So I think you can't tell the story of America without talking about the story of Native and Indigenous peoples.
Ohio University holds many different programs and activities to honor the Indigenous people, as well as educate students, faculty, and community members of Athens.
November 2nd, we did a lacrosse exhibition match with our partners in Ohio Wellbeing and Club Sports. November 7th, a movie screening at the Athena Cinema right uptown, which we're showing the movie Smoke Signals, which was referred to us by the student organization here at Ohio University Indigenous Circle. We also have an event on November 19th that's very important and very dear to me when it comes to the conversation I've been wanting to engage with for some time. We've partnered with the Women's Center to do an event on missing and murdered Indigenous women called the Lil Red Dress Project. And then November 22nd and November 23rd, we are bringing down an artist. We are bringing down Tony Duncan to do a 2-day seminar, lecture, and performance. The lecture will be on the 22nd at the Living and Learning Center here on campus, and then the performance is going to be November 23rd at Forum Theater. All of which these events are free and accessible to not just OU students, faculty, and staff, but community members as well. We interact with so much of their culture. We did an amazing job of trying to erase them in a lot of different ways, from our Thanksgiving narratives to Western movies and all these other things.
It's important for us to keep the history of Native Americans alive through honor and celebration and educate others during this month. Also for Native American Heritage Month, Ohio University organized an event Tuesday called the Lil Red Dress Project for Native Americans. The Lil Red Dress Project focuses on the issues of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. The event provided crafts to create red dress pins and earrings. The red symbolizes the blood of the sacred lives lost through violence against Indigenous women. The event also engaged in discussions about the Violence Against Women Act of 2005 and its impact on tribal communities. By wearing red through November 15th through the 21st, we can honor the victims and draw attention to this issue.
Nick and Sully returned to recap the past few weeks at OU, including the ever-iconic OU Halloween, Dad's Weekend, and the feeling on campus following the 2024 presidential election.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to What Happens on Court. It's been a few weeks, but we are back to recap all of the things that have been going on in this very, very hectic last few weeks of October and into the beginning of November. I am one of your hosts, Nicholas Kobe, and of course, as always, I'm joined by
Sullivan Beach.
And yeah, let's just get right into it. So we're gonna go in, let's just say reverse chronological order, or chronological order, depending on how you want to use that term, starting with the Furthest Away event, which at this point now is Halloween, about half a month out.
Coming up, we take a look at the first ever International Student Documentary Film Festival and a pickle tasting event that exploded with popularity. But first, let's head over to Audie with the rundown on Ohio University sports.
Hi everyone, I'm Adriana Reed. It has been an amazing couple weeks here for Ohio University's football team with a shutout of 41-0 against Kent. Then at home, Ohio defeated Eastern Michigan 35-10. They will now take on Toledo this Friday at 7 p.m. After their win against Kent State, the Bobcats became bowl eligible. Ohio University's own Parker Navarro was named MAC Player of the Week last week. Women's basketball defeated George Washington 52-40 with Kate Dennis having a career-high 15 points. The team took on Ohio State last night at the Convo. To see the results of that game, check out our website at thepostathens.com. Men's basketball is coming off of a loss from last weekend against Memphis. They will now play in the Portland Myrtle Beach tournament this weekend. The Bobcat wrestling team lost to Michigan State 22-19 this past Sunday. They will now compete in the Navy Classic in Annapolis, Maryland this Saturday at 9 a.m. The cross-country teams finished their season with the women placing 6th and the men placing 16th at the Great Lakes Regional Championships. The swim team was defeated by Miami on the 9th, but will compete in their last full team event before winter break this weekend at the TYR Invite starting at 10 a.m. in Virginia. When they competed in it last year, they broke a number of school records and finishing 3rd. Good luck to all the Bobcats competing this weekend. Have a great day and an even better tomorrow. Now let's head over to McKenna with our editorial segment.
Hi everyone, my name is McKenna Christie and I'm the Equity Director here at The Post, and I'm going over this week's State of the Tab. So our cover was designed by our wonderful Director of Photography, Elena Dackerman, and the cover story is about 5 wildfires that were reported in Wayne National Forest and the damage that was done and the efforts currently happening to resolve some of that damage as well. Another one of our wonderful news stories in Tab this week is about companies bidding over the right to frack in Leesville wildfire area. It's a very well done and in-depth story about that, and I encourage everyone to check that out. We have a couple human interest stories in Tab this week, as usual, and one of those is about Red Brick Tavern hosting cornhole competition, which should be very fun. And then we also have a band feature that we've been doing a lot about Snail Satan. And then, per usual, we have our wonderful sports stories about football in Ohio on the road to Toledo. And then our entertainment stories, we have a couple. We have some tips about overcoming burnout, which is very relevant as final season's approaching, and also pop music and its comeback. And then we have our lovely opinion section. We have a Metal Mondays about the recent Paul Tyson fight and the ethics surrounding boxing, and specifically that fight by our copy chief, Jackson McCoy. We have an editorial about just student journalism and those rights and how student journalism and student journalists need to be protected. And then on our back page, we have something for Native American Heritage Month by me, and just about how the Post honors Indigenous people's heritages this month, but also always. Feel free to check out our tab this week and stay tuned for more.
The film festival screened 10 different students' works earlier this week. This allowed students to gain perspective on different cultures and traditions. International students used the films to share different stories and experiences. Some films started more recently and some started 7 years ago. All contributed to helping develop students' understanding of the world as a global village. Some students explain how these films were a mental struggle for them to come from their countries and adjust to life in America, with their only experience in the U.S. being at Ohio University. The festival opened a dialogue for students to further understand and get to know each other.
I think the most important part about tonight is just experiencing different cultures, because even for international students, no one story is the same, no two stories are the same. I have a different experience, you have a different experience, so everybody has different experience. So just being able to see other people's stories and get to understand where they're coming from, get to see how diverse we can be as people, I think that's, for me, is the highlight of tonight.
Over the past few months, the Athena Cinema on Court Street has been going through renovations and in recent weeks has fully opened. Reporters Aubrey Kreitzer and Raphael Anglade spoke to students and faculty on what makes this cinema special.
Athena Cinema, located on Court Street, recently reopened its doors after undergoing new renovations. These renovations include repair to its theaters, some taking longer than others. Throughout the last few months, the Athena Cinema's theaters began reopening one by one, with the third and final theater opening within the last few weeks.
We make a lot of friends with our coworkers, but also with getting to know the patrons that come in routinely, and then new ones that come in, being able to answer questions for them and introduce them to the Athena, because not everyone knows it, and it's a pretty historic place. It's always fun when customers come in, have questions, or just want to come in and stop by to look at the place, because it is such an important part in Athens history.
The Athena Cinema has been showing films to people of Athens since 1915 and is known for featuring independent films as well as student-produced work.
Yeah, the Athena Cinema is heavily involved. We work closely with the director, Alex. She, along with some professors at the Voineberg School, Sam Crowell and Dr. Natalie Cruz, they all get together to kind of pick the movies, but also the Athena Cinema provides its space.
There is an array of snacks for moviegoers, such as popcorn, fountain drinks, and candy.
If you haven't come to a movie, you totally should. It's awesome. It's a great way to meet people. Athena Cinema is just a really great place for everyone to come and gather and learn about new ideas together.
No matter what moviegoers are interested in seeing, these new and improved theaters are sure to give an entertaining experience to all. The historical cinema is loved by our student body and Athens locals. Be sure to check out a show this week for only $8 a ticket.
Students packed Baker Center for a pickle tasting event in celebration of National Pickle Day, put on by the Student Center for Engagement and Leadership. Student Engagement said they were blown away by the turnout at this event. 1,000 students showed up with lines wrapped around the 3rd floor of Baker just to try some pickles. They not only got to taste all kinds of pickles such as bread and butter, kosher dill, and garlic dill, but rated them as well. Students shared controversial pickle opinions, including, if you don't like pickles at all, you're just wrong.
It's baller. The big one that I love dill. Dill's my favorite. Garlic dill. Kosher garlic dill. I don't like bread and butter. Hot take, I know. But everything else is fire.
If you're wondering why students are dressed in armor and carrying foam blasters, it's probably just Ohio University's Bobcat Blasters Club, who held a campus-wide Nerf battle. Reporter Chloe Smith talked to some of the competitors.
This past weekend, on November 7th and 8th, the Bobcat Blasters hosted a campus-wide Nerf war with both members of the club and outside members of the Blaster community.
So we've done 2 events this week, or this year in the fall. We've done a Halo-themed event and a Destiny-themed event. Those are invitationals, where it's open to pretty much anyone. We get people from across the country coming in.
Somehow I managed to survive all the way to the end and be one of the last survivors to do like a dramatic final stand or whatever. And it was really cool being with like 10 other people and just having like 100 zombies like charging at us. That was really cool.
If you think it's weird, if you think it's crazy, if you think it's silly, if you think it's stupid, it is all of those things, and that's what makes it fun.
There was a big turnout for this competition, so if you see any foam bullets lying on the ground, be sure to pick them up for our wildlife.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Make sure to follow us on our socials. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X at The Post Athens and The Post Multimedia.
You can check out our full-length videos on our website at thepostathens.com. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll be back next semester with the latest news around Athens and OU. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving and winter break, Bobcats.